The reason why this distinction is really important is when you are combining kids and doing whole family learning, there is really no first grade history or first grade science. If you have a third grader and a first grader, they can all be learning the same thing. My entire homeschool journey has not been, well, how do I figure out how to juggle history with a third grader and a different history with a first grader and a preschool with a preschooler? We just all did the same thing together. Yeah. So when they were little, we did like all of our content area subjects together. And we can talk about the difference between content subjects and skill subjects as we go on, because that's such an important distinction that a lot of people don't make when they're setting up and planning their homeschool.
Yeah.
But as my kids got older, they knew what they wanted to study, and not everybody wanted to study the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to talk about that progression. I also want to get back to what you had said. We really need to make a distinction between the core subjects and what did you call the other part?
So there's skill subjects and their content area subjects.
Okay.
And this is just like whether or not you're going to do whole family learning with your family. This is such an important distinction to make. And skill subjects are those subjects where students need to enter into the subject at a certain point. You never jump into math starting with multiplication or long division, right? You always jump into math with a preschooler starting with one-to-one correspondence and counting. And, these three things are three things, whether they're far apart or close together. I forget what that's called, but they're like these preschool skills, and kids jump into math there and they move through math in a logical progression where they learn one thing and then the next and then the next. And every child needs to start math at the beginning and work through that logical progression with very few deviations. I mean, you might take a break to learn about telling time or something, but you're pretty much walking through this progression. Content area subjects are different. And this is something like a history where sometimes we get it in our brain. Oh, you know what? Like we got to start with ancient history. But I'm telling you, when you have a first grader, ancient history means nothing more to them than like modern history does or the American Revolution does. Like it's all old stuff and they really conceptually can't fathom like the whole thing anyway. So you might as well just start with stories and people, and it doesn't matter what time frame. There's no beginning where you move through. You can start anywhere and go back and pick up older things or come and pick up newer things. Same with science, right? You don't have to start science with an elementary school student at any certain subject or any certain point. You can jump in anywhere with them and then learn about all the different things. So that's a content subject. So the reason why this distinction is really important is when you are combining kids and doing whole family learning, there is really no first grade history or first grade science or second grade history or second grade science. If you have a third grader and a first grader, they can all be learning the same thing. And there's no distinction. And so one of the things that we tell people to do is to sit down when you start planning out your homeschool and think about which subjects are skill subjects, learning to read, learning to spell, some areas of composition when you're first getting started, mathematics for sure, a foreign language, those kinds of things. Those are your skill-based subjects. They need to be entered into at a single point. You need to progress through them in a logical order. And everybody typically works on their own for the most part. Yeah. Content subjects, on the other hand, history, social study, any kind of social studies, geography, science, literature, that one is totally a content area subject. Everybody can be learning all the things together all at the same time.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.